That's the Discord stream.
Oh,
Here. Decentraland's so annoying sometimes.
well, if we miss anything, it's not 100% important that all of our warpcast and coin talk has been missing. I know why everybody's kicked out, because Donald Trump and Elon Musk are talking right now on Spaces.
Are they really? Oh
That's
my
what that
god.
is. Yeah.
No fucking wonder. Yeah, like I was noticing that like my stream to you or X was not going. Like was not playing.
Probably because there's millions of people on X right now.
Yeah, watching him.
Now I'm gonna click on this just to see how many people's in the room. 1.3 million people are listening.
Jesus. Oop, okay, let me fix this right here. Oh, come on. There we go, there we go. I almost lost my patience. And looks like the Decentraland screen is back. Okay, cool. I guess kind of like segueing to a different topic. You are an AR, XR, MR, VR adaptive artist. I guess
So
like
you know what all those abbreviations mean, yeah? You know that.
everything except MR.
So mixed reality.
Mixed
So
reality.
that would
Okay,
be.
wouldn't that be the same
Could
as
you
XR?
imagine you're wearing standard normal glasses with an overlay, and basically you're mixing real with uh, an overlay kind of feature using a phone, or like what our imagination was these glasses that we can actually project stuff onto. Like I can't remember the name of the company. It's a company called X-Rail. They do a pair of glasses that you can walk about and you can watch like video YouTube channels and play games and other parts. People have actually taken that technology and built games with it, so they can basically, you could be standing in in a queue playing chess with your friend if you both have these glasses on, and you can move the pieces about using XR technology, which is amazing. It's just that obviously it comes down to the viewability of the user that's going to use it and what platform that it's actually going to be visible on.
Okay, okay. Let's see. One exists in the chat says, I thought XR encompasses all of them, or no?
So XR is the technology that builds it.
Okay.
It's like the back end code. But if you say you use Unity, when you first open up a Unity page, it asks you, what are you going to be like publishing this to? Are you going to make it an AR project? Are you going to make it MR? Like mixed reality just means that you don't have any of the surrounding space. Like there's a lot of these overlays, like even Kid Called Beasts have got an overlay that you can use, that you look through your phone and you see your camera sees the real world, but you've got the mixed reality on top of that.
Okay, okay. Nice. I'm definitely gonna have to look back into this the recordings and kind of like learn like the information that you have just mentioned, because I did not know that. And like I guess the question I was
I would probably call mixed reality the same as augmented reality. It's probably the same, similar in concept, but mixed reality is basically mixing the full immersion of VR, looking like you're in the space, but you still see the rest of the world around you. So it's mixing the two realities together.
okay. Hmm. And so like when we wait, let's see, revisit. Oh, that's just one existence. Finishing off a sentence. Um, and just want to take a moment, say hello to Make and NFT. I saw him in the Twitch chat. Thank you so much for popping in. And I thought I saw someone else pop in. Crypto Minotaur, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. If anyone has a question for our guest tonight, please feel free to type it in the Twitch chat, and I'll read it out to him as well. I wanted to ask you about AR because like I've just been lightly dabbling in AR. So
Hmm.
for how long have you been doing AR filters and art? And like what are the softwares that you use that you mainly use?
So we were using a platform called OVR. So OVR. Over is a platform that basically wants to scan the whole world and make it I don't want to call it a digital twin, but it's basically a scanned version of the world done
Okay.
by the users. And then their concept is you can build your assets and put them into real life. So I imagine it a bit like a big massive Pokemon Go kind of game. That was the original concept I had in my head of going, remember the old school Pokemon you ran around and you find the Pokemon and you could capture them on that app.
Mm-hmm.
That that alone is the part that made me interested in that side was the gamification of being able to make something interactable without actually having to fully have the whole world built and different parts to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the technology behind the actual integration for avatars and other parts isn't required for that type of stuff because all your integration is your phone. But there's some good tech. Like I've seen a couple of people build shooting games and other parts that they use the phone as the gun, and they run around and they can shoot each other using their phone. And obviously, you see the bullet fly from the screen on your phone, and it tells you if they hit the person and other points.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's dope.
which is quite fun. I still think it's going to be more from an integration with like maybe QR codes and other parts integrated on top of that. So you walk up into a shop, like I'm going to say in a coffee shop because this is the concept that we had in our heads, was you go into a coffee shop, your GPS knows that you've been to that place over and over and over, and most of the companies sell that GPS data. We would rather go down the route of you own your own ownership of your own data. So if you go up and you scan the QR code, then it gives you access to the integrated game that that shop offers. And it can open up loads of different options. Like you can control the coffee machine by using your phone, or you can order foods by scanning the QR code to initiate the whole thing in the beginning. But that scan of the QR codes basically is like a login system, and then obviously using the NFT over the back of it gives you an awful lot more control.
Uh, yeah, yeah, so and that is all with what is it? UVR?
So over,
Uber. How do
so
you spell that?
yeah, so O for orange, V for Victor,
Hmm.
R for Romeo.
Okay, so I spelled it right.
Yep.
I was just making sure. Um, like I've never heard of that one. Like I lightly dabbled into AR, like making AR filters with my Mew bubble or my Mew aura, and I started off doing it with the lens software, which is the how you make AR filters for Instagram.
Hmm.
And so like I've always wanted to kind of like bring bring virtual merch into the physical world, and like let's say in the form of a hoodie. And I always wanted like kind of a way to be able to integrate the AR with the hoodie, whether if it's like you know, a QR
Well,
code that will trigger
yeah,
something.
I'll be massively like open here. There's probably about 100 different platforms that do the exact same idea of that. And
Yes.
what what you have to basically think about is, if you're going to say to your user or client or whatever you want to call them, if you walk up to this and you have that app on your phone, then great. But if you don't have that app and you've never used it before,
Mhm.
you have to train them how to use it on the spot
Mhm.
by opening up a camera, scanning, and running a program, from that site. I I really want the phone companies, if AR is going to be the next way to bring people into this space, say, I think like an overlay of the world is a great concept from a practical point of maybe like directions. So if you go into a museum and you scan the QR code to say, yeah, you've logged in. I want directions. You've got the QR code that gives you the app. It fully opens on your phone. You look through the camera, and it basically, if you point that at anything around you, it will tell you the information that you need to know about that actual part. So you don't need like a guide anymore.
Mhm.
But also in the back of that, I'm hoping that this technology is going to come into the glasses like Bose and um, there's many glasses that are starting to integrate like camera systems and AI into the glasses.
Yep. Ray-Ban.
I think, yeah, like Ray-Ban for example. I
Meta.
think if they had like an overlay system built into their cameras, then you would see like arrows giving you advice where to go and where um like it could be like a timer saying, oh, event starts in 10 seconds, like it's on level 2.
Mhm.
Would you like us to give you directions to there? And then you see the arrows and it's on the ground. So you just follow the yellow brick roads
Mhm.
to the event. And that would be something that's fully augmented for the user, the end user. Like that's the person using it.
So, okay, so I think you basically answered my question, I believe, whenever like I was getting into it, like you know, mentioning my idea, my clothing idea, um, and basically what I understood is that there are many AR softwares out there, but there isn't that one program, that one software that will bring it all together just yet. And that's what needs to happen in the AR space in order to for all these technologies to move forward and integrate into each other.
Yep. Just like AOL and different parts, they were all different technologies. They were all saying they were given the same thing,
Mhm.
but they all merged together, and now we call it the internet.
Mhm.
We're now trying to override that internet with like Web3, but technically all these technologies all work together on the internet, so that there's no reason that can't happen with phone companies and all these other kind of technologies. Like, we're going to have a merge of technology. It's going to happen. It just comes down to who gives up or who gets bought out faster.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of the technology in the background is more down to who created it and is it good enough to go mass market. And this is what is the key part here: is who's going to bring that to market. uh, Maybe not first, but best
Yeah.
and cheapest.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you know, whenever I get into that realm of thinking, I think about like who is going to do it? Is it going to be Snapchat that just starts eating up all these other smaller companies, or will it be Meta? Will it come down to like just a handful of technologies that we could use that will like integrate for most of our needs? Mm.
We're always going to have like a need for open source and like like another version of what the mass market are using. But I think it's more about allowing access to the camera system, having the ability to get into the back end code and know how to get these things to work. Like, how do you get the overlay to actually work properly, proportional to the actual space that's in that part? Like, here's the good example. Most of these are AR overlays that work just now. I've got like a built-in system that has like it can see the sun and it can put shadows and stuff on your avatar and other pieces, but it doesn't know where the ground is,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't know where other objects are. So in most cases, it will break the illusion and go through, or it'll like overimpose itself over the top of something and look wrong. It doesn't know it should be behind. It just puts itself in front, and it's people like technology wise that are building these apps in different points. We need game creators and other people that have that knowledge base of how to get things to look correct in that kind of space, and the dev guys that have the technology background of how to build that stuff and actually code it. And these guys have to come together and actually build this stuff. So this is why companies need to be created, because nobody else is going to put these two people together to make these things like properly, apart from people that are going to pay them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like that's why it's always like these. It feels like big corporation has the leg up. the Okay, so we've been going for about an hour and a half or so. I guess we could dive into a final topic here, which one Exist asked about a little bit. Did Wilson talk about what or who he is building for in these places?
No, I didn't.
We have not
So,
gotten to it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
so this might be a good time for you to put the video on in the background, and that could just run. So these are buildings I've done on some of the platforms that we've been talking about. Summon Space, Hyperfi. One of the main ones, I never showed any CryptoVoxel stuff, but I do have CryptoVoxels. I'm testing over in Resonate just now. Mozilla hubs and stuff, that the stuff that I touched on, the open source sites, I didn't keep anything over there, so there was nothing for me to be able to show. And there's a few new platforms that I'm trying to get into, like RP1 and Everdome. Nifty Islands created a space over there just because it was free and like there was incentive to be there. OVR, obviously, this is another platform I'm quite interested in.
We just checked out this build right here, the Pure Canna.
Yeah, Pure Cano. So Pure Cano is not one of my customers. That was just a space that I created, and that customer was given access to put stuff up. In almost all cases of anything that I've created from that part, if I've got a space that's accessible and it makes sense, like the person's not going to make any money off of it and they're testing it out, I'm more than happy to allow somebody to use a space to test. But if they start making money off of the back of it and they're making lots of money, I'm going to ask for a little bit of a reimbursement for their part, you know.
We need a little rent money here.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, there has to be good deeds have to cross both paths, you know.
Yeah, you can stay, but we'll need a little rent. Oh, this is cool with the lights.
Which one are you watching?
Oh, I have it streaming on the Discord stream, so you could watch it in real time.
Oh, yeah.
I've had the video playing when you queued it.
Oh, so the one with the lights, that's see these buildings that's all down the street on both sides?
The H.
That's the one that has been posted over on One Existence place. That's that building. As I said to One Existence, that was a test model that I created. It's around about 2 megabytes or something. It's quite low poly, so it should work on almost any platform. And we realized that when we pulled it into another platform, the Man Who Saved the World, we didn't have the render for the glass set up correctly. So I went back and fixed that.
I'm really enjoying the Hyperfi builds.
The nice thing about the Hyperfy one is it's unlimited space. You can build as big as you can as long as you stick to the limits of what the user's going to be using it for. You know, like
Mhm.
almost all the platforms there will run on a newer phone. So you can go in on a phone. I wouldn't recommend it because it's not a great experience trying to use a joystick on a touch screen. But it is possible to go in and watch the video from within Hyperfy.
Mhm.
That one there is actually an NFT project that I got, and it's called a Pepe, and they obviously don't have any virtual presence at all. So I was trying to get them to come into that part. That was beatboxes way back in the day. Um, they had like a promotional part. They sold out in under 30 minutes,
Holy crap.
and I think yeah, and it wasn't a cheap amount of money for each of those NFTs.
You got Fraz
It
Primal,
wasn't was
Phrase Primal.
so the Fraz is a pretend company by the I've forgotten the name of the like honestly, a lot of this is just it's all mock and just trying stuff out.
Mhm. Mhm. Squig. What does that say? Squiggle Dow.
Yeah,
I
so
like the name.
I met the owner of well one of the owners of the Squiggle guys. He holds an awful lot of these squiggles, and he wanted a DAO space for people to be able to go to. So we created this building for them, and like obviously depending on if they used it or not, who knows? But they did get it created.
Nice. Yeah.
This one was a friend of mine. They had space. They wanted a building. These were one of the first buildings I designed within the space, and these were all about multi-story kind of the feels. And obviously, I didn't want just straight walls, so everything had to have angles, and everything was set up for different views.
Mhm.
Obviously, within Somnum space, it's 5 kilometers wide, so you can see in every direction when you're higher up than everybody else. So it was trying to create a nice space, you know, like that outside kind of porch area that they could walk out on.
Whenever you begin developing a space, do you have like kind of a go-to architecture style that you like to like begin with, or is it all like by depending on what you're trying to do?
So almost every single one that you see in these videos are from 1.5 years ago because I basically moved over to NFP to help them. So I stopped building in all the spaces until recently, a couple of months ago. So you'll see that a lot of these buildings are set up as quite minimalistic looking parts with big glass windows and different points. And I quite like making a building look like it's actually structurally sound. So it looks like a building, but I try to twist it and make
Mm-hmm.
it look a bit more different than you would normally think of it. But there has to be have that like slight. Could that really be a real building? Could it actually work if it was real? I want to have that doubt in a person's head
Mm-hmm.
when they look at the building.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely. If you wanted to apply that in a real life position, become an architect. Those dudes just build anything, and then they give it to the contractors. Like, here, build this.
Yeah. Well, remember, I was an interior designer from kitchens and stuff. So when I designed a space, like I was telling the joiners what to build, buying all the products. The joiners were turning up, and they would phone me and say, "Well, how do you expect me to fit this?" And I'm like, "Oh, you have to do you have to do this and that and that." And obviously, with time and effort and knowledge, you know how to do these parts, but that was where I moved more into the factory side and the compliance side. So ended up becoming a compliance officer, telling people off for doing silly stuff. So that was kind of my background on the kitchen point. I moved from sales into the factory to tell people stop making stuff that we can't create, and you know.
We'll need a completely different machine for this. Please
Yeah,
stop.
there's no physical way to make that shape under that strain. Like we had islands that were overhanging by 2-3 meters, just floating in the middle of the sky, you know, and we're like, how how is that going to be supported? Like there's no physical way that that's ever going to counterlever out that far.
Yeah, you're like, did you think this through before doing this? Or is this AI?
But this was the good thing with the VR headset was the people could see the actual thing that was created, and our program was actually quite an intelligent program. When they designed it, we built in stipulations like you cannot overhang a granite worktop by more than what the granite allows. So if somebody ever created something that wouldn't be physically able to be done,
You added the
it
laws
was
of
somebody like
physics.
me. Yeah, it was somebody like me that decided at that weight, at that distance, that that's now not allowed, and we built those rules into the actual builder. So, say it was like Decentraland builds. If you ever designed the space and it wasn't physically able to be held up by that wall, it would come up red and say, "This is not structural enough. You need to make it better."
Okay. That's a pretty dope program to have. Alright.
It cost that company, I think it was close to £3 million to get the original code up to scratch, and then they paid unlimited amounts of money on the database behind it and building all the assets and getting everything to work together. It was crazy. This is why I look at a virtual world and I hear that they got like funding round of like 2.5 grand, and you're like what? Like you can't build any kind of like technology on small amounts of money.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't developing in general. Yeah, that it's a little hard with that amount. Oh, what's going on? I went to a location that One Exist had shared in our chat, but it looks like an empty
I,
building. Like, or by any chance, do you know what is happening here once my
so
Decentraland
that
loads up?
building that you ran around inside was an asset that I gave them as a tester.
Ah,
So that building was in that video that we just watched. You know, like we had it on the street. All those buildings were right down either side of the actual point.
okay, let's see. There we are. Okay, so this is one of your designs, one of your builds. Are there any future plans for what to use this build for?
I don't own that land, and I don't own any land in Decentraland. So if anybody's listening and you own loads of land and you're looking for a good builder, fire some questions my way, and we might be able to come up with something, because I'm interested to build something, but I'm not interested in just one plot. I would rather something larger if I was going to make something.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, like as I mentioned, like the name is One Direction, and I know earlier we got in the topic of like, um, kind of like just having community members that have assets wanting to let others create on them. There's definitely a lot of people on the Central Land that do own land assets and that would love to have someone build on them. So it's definitely something to like look out for, like the connect with the community, um, and just talk to people, get to know them, and I think I found the answer to that I was looking for whenever I said, "Is there gonna be a future event? Is there gonna be something going on
Oh,
here?"
yeah. So just to let everybody know, we do have a charity event that's coming up on, I think it's the 25th, 25th of the month,
Oh,
and it's for a very good charity foundation. I think it's virtual the RMU Foundation. So I can't even remember the Physical Foods Digital Food Project. Perfect. So what I'd done is we basically connected. I offered the guy to use a space that we actually have in Hyperfy, and they also own a plot somewhere else. I think it's actually in Decentraland, and they're going to be promoting, trying to earn money for to feed the homeless. If you're looking for more information about it, go to that destination and read the part, or reach out to One Existence. He's more than happy to share some links and different parts about what's going on. And I think we've all shared on our Twitter channel this project, so there should be a way to get back to the Twitter page and be able to read it. And I would love to see everybody turn up, because the more that we can sell these NFTs, and I don't think they're expensive, and I think in their head it's per cell that they have might feed 2 or 3 people, and obviously anybody on the streets is obviously looking for as much help as possible. And I think it's the guys that have done this many times, and if we can support as much as we can, that would be great.
That is awesome, and I mean, definitely feeding the homeless is something to worth donating to. Um, so, and I know how like how near and dear like kind of this is near and dear to kind of One Existence. Like he's always like trying to just bring attention, like homeless people are people too, and that just a minute of your day could mean the world to them. And I totally agree with One Exists, so I definitely support that. I see in the chat, Make an NFT asked a question saying how big are the spaces in total. I did ask him back like which spaces was he referring to, so once we get that answer, maybe I could ask you.
It's probably he might be talking about the Decentraland one. You might be thinking what I want to build there. I want to make something brand new. It won't be any existing stuff. It'll be brand new builds, brand new imagination. And I usually go into a space. I look to see what would be great or look good within that space, or if there's anything else in that space, what will stand out as well. So I would like to create something that actually is meaningful and is going to be worthwhile to have within that. I know that we can do it within a world in Decentraland, but it's more to have it in the main world, like because that's where the people are going to come across it.
He was referring to the VR spaces that you were referring to whenever we were chatting about like the interior design and the company you worked for.
Or how big were the spaces for theirs? We used to recreate maybe 1 to 2 rooms of the person's house. So we used to go out to the house, we used to take pictures of the
Oh,
whole space, we used to measure the whole walls and everything, and then we would recreate the space completely in a virtual space.
oh, that's
It's
that's dope.
yeah, it's definitely something that a virtual world would benefit from if somebody actually understood what they were getting. And and my concept was, now I'm not in that industry, I don't care about it. But if anybody wanted the concept of the idea, every company that makes kitchens has like an AutoCAD kind of concept of an actual point. The product that we were using was a company called Fusion, and Fusion basically did a rendering system and rendered out the room for a 2-dimensional like screen, but they had the ability to make it 3-dimensional, so they just had to export that out as a 3-dimensional object. And then once you've got that, if you can convert it into some kind of way to get it into a GLB format, then you could import it, and then it's visible for anybody to be able to go in. The way that we utilized that, the best way that we utilized it was we made it a clickable link that they could share with their family and friends. And we asked them to share with their family and friends to get their opinion on the kitchen. So it reinforced the fact of they were looking at the kitchen that they were going to buy, telling their family and friends, oh, this is the kitchen I'm going to get. And imagine them saying, oh, I'm not going to buy it anymore. They have to say no to their family as well. So it was a bit like a trick. It was it was telling people that they were taking ownership of that room. They spent all that time designing it properly. They get to see it. They get to the final stages of deciding where cutlery and stuff's going to go in virtual space. And then imagine saying no at the end of that process.
After so much work, yeah. So
Exactly.
in a way, it or like it pushes them to like want to
step over that line and actually make the purchase, you know.
Yeah, and like put in what they want, like more, either add more or or change this color of this, that smart business plan for sure. But I mean, definitely it is something that could be where like the future of designing kitchens is going to.
I think it's already got to that point.
It's already
even down to the rendering system for architects and everything. You won't imagine the amount of money they spend on those rendering projects. Like it's a massive business, from rendering up concept art and different points. And if they could have the ability to be able to drop one of those assets into a three-dimensional space and be able to walk around it with the actual client, it's game changing from an architect's point of view. And I know that architects are very interested in this. Unfortunately, they're not designers for virtual spaces right now, because they don't care about the poly count. So they come in like trying to drop an asset in that's 2.5 gigabytes, and you're like, it's never going to run.
Triangles.
Yeah, billions and billions of triangles, and you're like, well, it's not going to work within that point of space, you know.
Yep.
But if we can get to the system stage that is pixel streaming in different points, I'm sure these things will eventually get to a point that it's possible to be very, very, very high detail. But for the time being, we have to pretend that we're working with like old PlayStation 1 level, and get it to run well for millions of people at that level, and then worry about high def after. I think that's the key.
Yeah, I mean, and as you mentioned, it's getting there. It's getting there. I do want to introduce our friend One Exist. He did pop up to the stage here. I wanted to pass the mic over to him. Say hello.
Do you hear him?
If you're talking, I can't hear you. He probably needs to adjust mic. I had to do stuff like that today for some reason. My computer, like, audio reset and stuff like that. Let's see. Oh, nope. he's just popped out, popped back in. Let's invite him up.
Talking about pixel streaming and like massive amounts of people in a space, do you think Decentraland have got to the stage that they can handle massive amounts of people? Like, obviously, I don't want to name drop, but other sites, they openly showed a technology that they've utilizing to get thousands of people within one area. I don't believe that 1,000 people need to be in an area, truly, because like, who really wants to talk over another 999 people in the background? Yeah. Like, could you imagine having a conversation with a person and there's 1,000 people around you screaming and like moving about and doing different things. It'd just be a nightmare.
Yep. I mean, is Decentraland capable? That is to be determined. At the current level of the platform, let's leave that as a no. But they're not working on it. The official team is working on a new client, and supposedly it should be. I think one of the tests they've done is they've tested with like 250 concurrent users, so and that went well. And I mean, and then in terms of other side, like everything sounds exciting. Like all the words that are being said do sound exciting.
It's all buzzwords, yeah.
But the thing is like, and this also goes for Decentraland in my us being able to handle 250. It sounds nice when you say the words, but like my opinion, my like full support and opinion and like like I'm happy for this won't come until it's deployed or until the other side it has something to show for it, because at this moment they have nothing. But I
say with all tech, it falls down if it fails. So they can say whatever they want, but if it fails in the end, it's not. They're not fulfilling what they said that they're going to do. And I think putting figures on stuff is quite. It's quite bold, to be honest. Saying I can do X, Y, and Z because people hold you to those values, you know.
Yep. Like I've done the play tests. Like the other side, I did the second trip. And it was like they shoved like I think it was like 10,000 people in one server, and you know we were like jumping around collecting cookies or something like that. But like you know it's cool that they've gotten that to work at the current state. But like, what does the finished product look like? What happened? What does it look like when it comes online? Because as I've noticed with a lot of things, like everything seems to be perfect in the test world, but then once you like go live, that's when all the issues come.
Well, I can tell you from a little bit experience, getting more people into a space itself is to get that attention span, to get the people in that space. It's quite a hard concept to get the people to come in, and I can understand that other sides got, I think it was thousands of people to come into that point.
Thousands.
But I know they sold 100,000 plots. So if you take it from a percentage point of view, if everybody wants to go to their plot at the one time, they've still not got enough people tested to say that even their percentage rate is only 2.5% of what they've actually got. You know, like that's what they've tested for.
Yep, exactly.
I know they can go into different servers. I know they can do all the different points. And I know the figures that they're pushing out right now are higher than almost everything else that most people have seen. But the technology that they're using is obviously a third party technology as well.
Yep, and not only like the numbers that Web3. It's not only the numbers that Web3 can see, has seen. Like it's literally other side is trying to push like the numbers even in the Web2 world. Like there's a game called BattleBit Online remastered that holds like about 300 players, I believe, or maybe a little less, 250, like in one match, and that like seems to be like the limit at this point.
I think it's been proven that 38 is all you need in a space at one time.
All 38 users.
That's true.
And welcome when exists.
38 is fine.
Thank you. I don't mean to interrupt. I wanted to clarify just a couple things or mention about the charity. Thanks for bringing that up. You can see Wilson's got his logo down on there along with VTAT TV and myself. I volunteered to be a host or whatnot and help advertise. But this is, some of you may know who Ex Bohiti is. in the Twitter world spaces. That's who is behind this. He has attempted this a few other times. I guess the last time was pretty dismal, but he blames himself for that. So we're really, really hoping a lot of people will come together and do this. He's going to be feeding people in Chicago on a particularly bad day for the homeless people, because there's a event going on and at a park, and a lot of the people that are in that park are going to be kicked out for the duration. So his goal is 80 people, which I hope is very reasonable. I believe you'll be able to donate. There's going to be some NFT auctions, and I can tell you one of them is a bit beast. So if anybody's been wanting to get in, here's an opportunity to maybe get one at a fairly decent price. I don't want to say too good of a price, because it better capture a lot for this, I hope. But and as far as I know, they're still looking for entertainers for after the auction event, which is in the Hyperfi that Wilson is letting him use. I think that's most of what I know. So 25th, you had that right too. So again, thank you. And sorry to interrupt.
No worries. I'm always happy to hear from you. And I wanted to even thank you for connecting myself and Wilson to get for today's show. So really appreciate you.
There's old guy.
Yep. Old guy just popped in. He was like, "Hey, no beyond the NFT." Doing well.
Oh, and I am in World. I'm just on the 2.0. So if you're on 1, you can't see us, and we can't see you.
That's why.
I don't think I can say much more than that.
Are you breaking some NDAs?
I found a couple things.
That's funny. All right. Well, let's see. We covered the event. We've had a very stimulating conversation, sharing ideas, and I've also learned a little bit about MR, XR, VR, and AR.
I think it more comes down to the way or the technology, because obviously
Exactly.
Apple, they call it MR.
Oh, and one other thing. Sorry, on my previous question about what and or who are you building for? There's something you've told me about these spaces together, that when you aren't around, therefore who?
What do you mean?
Well, who else are you building these spaces for when you're not around anymore?
Oh, right. So yeah, so the whole concept coming into these spaces and building any virtual space or any part is trying to put the groundwork in for my child. Like the whole part behind me is, I know that I'm not going to be the end user that's going to be using this forever. It's going to be my kid's going to come up and he's going to use these spaces in any way that he decides to. So hopefully build it out in such a good system that he can come in naturally and actually just take over. And I hope that virtual reality in the future will be a way that you can earn money. And I'm hoping that I can hand that over to my son and he comes in all guns blazing going, I own land in quite a few different platforms, and hopefully every single platform are the best platforms in the world, and he can run them and make money as he does, Is that what you were saying, One Existence? Is that what you were talking about?
That is it exactly. Thank you.
Perfect.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. The biggest part in the background is obviously the changeover from my old working lifestyle to this lifestyle, I really want to come into this space and actually build what I believe that the future is going to need, you know, and obviously trying to come up with funds and different points for that. It takes time and effort, and obviously it's hard to ask for help sometimes. And like One Existence has been amazing, so I would love to. I'm saluting you, One Existence. I've got other guys in the background like Satiki and Jeff and other people. You all know that I'm here for you whenever you need me, and I'm glad that you are out there helping other people as well. So that's what I would like to say.
I know, thank you, and I'm glad you got to share your story and tell people what you do. We were in Star Dogs on Saturday, and Wilson made a big impression on them.
Really? Nice.
I don't know how.
Just be yourself. Like the best thing you could be in Web3 is literally yourself. Don't try to act like no one you are. Don't try to like say that you do everything. Like, you know, just be yourself, man.
I believe that everybody can learn, and that's the one thing I always pushed out to everybody that used to come to me. They used to say, "Oh, can you build me a space?" And I was like, build it yourself. Like the whole point in coming into a space is understanding what you're building. If you get that basic knowledge to pat, so you understand that basic part, no, you don't need to rely on any other person to be able to change something or move something about or add or take away, and it's fully adaptable by you. And I think I've always taken that through all the points. If I don't know something, I want to know enough information to be at least helpful to myself, you know. And if anybody's listening to this and they're actually just looking for that encouragement to take that next step, it's not that scary. And what's the worst that can happen? You break it, you start again. Like that's all you can really do. You break it. There's nothing really in this space that you can break that badly that you can't fix.
Exactly. And I feel like that is a great note to end on right there. Before we head out, how could, if anyone would like to connect with you, collab with you, or just chat, what is the best way to contact you or get a hold of you?
Yep. If you see me, salute me. Come and say hi. That's it. Like the bigger part is obviously I have a Twitter. It's WI for Wilson. Paul is my name. 83, and I genuinely put Wilson 83 on almost everything that I touch. So if I ever have something around and you see Wilson 83 written there, you know it's me, because I've dedicated 83 to my name on almost everything that I've done. So if there's a Wilson kicking about, just shout Wilson out, Castaway at him. If he screams back at you, know it's not me, because I'm so used to that. It's unbelievable. And just come and say hi. Like, honestly, if I can help you, I will. If I know somebody that can help, I usually pass you to the right person. Same as One Existence. He's doing a great job. He's flying the flag for everybody.
Yep. One Exist is a gem, and
give Will a follow. We want to build up his following so he doesn't look so sus on Twitter.
Yeah. The first thing he said to me when we jumped in the call was, "Bro, I'm really surprised that you're having me on your show. Like, I'm look at my profile." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "No, bro, no." But like, yeah. Let's whoever's listening on Decentraland or on Twitch, shoot a follow at WI Paul 83. And if you see any Wilson 84 out there, he's most likely
he's a bad boy. Stay away from him.
Yeah.
AI copycats.
Yeah, he's an imposter, so don't talk to him. And I'll pass it over to you, One Exist. Any final words that you would like to say to everyone before we close out?
I said it. Give Wilson a follow.
Oh,
That was it.
that was it.
Oh, and show up for the charity event if you can, please, and spread the word. Thank you.
Yep. On the 25th. I believe the 25th is 2 days before Mew birthday. Oh, yes. Ugh. I'm getting old. But alrighty. Well, thank you very much, Wilson, for joining tonight's Beyond the NFT. I know it's like extremely late for you right now, like 3 a.m. I believe. So yeah, I have to thank you once again, and really appreciate you you joining us. With such a like a short notice. So really appreciate you, man. And
No, it's actually my pleasure. And if anybody is listening to these broadcasts on at any time, if you ever listen to one of these parts and then it just gives you the inkling, oh, I want to try it or I want to do it, just do it. Just jump in, have a go. And if the restriction is hardware, unfortunately, there's not an awful lot we can do from our side. But if you can get access and you can come into any of these spaces, there are people here to help. Millions of people want to do it. They just need the encouragement to come in and actually try. So I want to see you here next week.
Let's go. Well, thank you, Wilson. Thank you, One Exist. Take care, and yeah, once again, really appreciate your time. And to anyone that is listening here at Metal One Design headquarters, please head on over to the Twitch channel so that we can build the viewership up a little bit, and raid maybe. Oh, I see David Frank Drums live, so let's go put a smile on his face. Yeah, let's and we could just sit around and watch some TV here on the metaverse for the rest of the night. Yep. And yeah, thank you everyone. Take care, and we'll see you back